The assembled dignitaries of the Galactic Council shifted uncomfortably in their seats as Captain Sarah Chen strode into the grand chamber. The human woman's footsteps echoed against polished stone, her worn military uniform a stark contrast to the ornate alien garments surrounding her. Behind her followed her chosen crew: Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez, Science Officer Dr. James Harrison, and Navigation Specialist Kai Pottle. They represented humanity's first deep space command team, though the aliens watching them saw only primitive beings reaching beyond their grasp. High Counselor Vexthor, their crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns, gestured to a holographic display. As promised, humanity shall receive its first deep space vessel. The Phoenix Dawn awaits in Docking Bay 17. Their tone carried what might have been amusement, though alien emotions were still difficult for humans to interpret. The Phoenix Dawn. Even the name felt like mockery. Through the chamber's vast windows, Sarah could see the ship floating in its dock, a massive, angular construct of dark metal and exposed conduits. Its hull bore the scars of 1,000 repairs, patches upon patches creating a patchwork pattern that spoke of centuries of neglect. This was no gift, it was a statement. Maya's fingers twitched at her side, the engineer already cataloging the visible issues. "Captain," she whispered, "that's a Caraxian salvage hauler. 4th generation. They haven't made those in over 300 years. Sarah kept her expression neutral, though inside she seethed. The Galactic Council had promised humanity a vessel worthy of joining their interstellar community. Instead, they'd given them garbage, a ship that should have been scrapped generations ago. But she wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her disappointment. "We accept this generous gift with gratitude," Sarah declared, her voice steady. Several council members tittered, their various appendages and sensory organs betraying their amusement. They expected failure. They wanted it. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of inspections and documentation. Maya led her engineering team through the Phoenix Dawn's labyrinthine corridors, their handheld scanners revealing the true extent of their challenge. The ship's quantum core, the heart of any modern vessel, pulsed with erratic energy signatures. The navigation system spoke in dead languages. Life support functioned at barely 40% capacity. Dr. Harrison found Sarah in what would become the bridge, the scientist's usual composed demeanor cracking with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this." He held up his tablet, displaying a complex series of energy readings. "The quantum core, it's not just old, it's different. The architecture doesn't match any known Caraxian designs." Sarah leaned closer, studying the scrolling data. "Different how?" "It's as if..." Harrison paused, choosing his words carefully. "It's as if someone took quantum mechanics and decided to write new rules. The energy patterns don't make sense, but they're not random. There's a logic here we're not seeing yet." Maya joined them, her dark hair escaping its tight bun after hours of crawling through maintenance shafts. "That explains a few things. Every time we try to interface our equipment with the ship's systems, we get bizarre readings. It's like the technology is thinking about how to respond." "Thinking?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Poor choice of words, maybe," Maya admitted. "But watch this." She pulled out a diagnostic tool and approached a nearby console. As she held the device near, the ancient screens flickered to life, displaying information in a format that seemed to shift between alien script and human-readable text. "It's adapting. No other ship I've ever worked on does that." Kai's voice crackled over their comms. "Captain, you might want to come to engineering. We've got something weird happening with the drive core." The engineering deck was a cathedral of pipes and conduits, all centered around a massive cylindrical chamber that housed the quantum core. As Sarah entered, she noticed an unusual quiet. The ever-present hum of machinery had softened to a gentle pulse that seemed to match her heartbeat. Kai stood before a bank of jerry-rigged monitors, his dark features illuminated by their glow. "We were running basic diagnostics, trying to establish a power baseline. But look at this." He gestured to a wavelength display. The core's output changed the moment we started working. It's not just maintaining power, it's becoming more efficient. That's impossible, Harrison muttered, but his eyes told a different story. He wanted it to be possible. Sarah walked to the core housing, placing her hand against the warm metal. The pulsing changed again, synchronizing with her presence. This wasn't just a machine. The aliens had given them something they didn't understand themselves. Theory time, she announced, turning to her crew. The Council didn't give us this ship because it was worthless. They gave it to us because they couldn't make it work. Maya's eyes widened. You think they've been trying to crack its secrets? Think about it. The Corrections disappeared centuries ago, but their technology was centuries ahead of current standards. What if this isn't just a salvage hauler? What if it's something else wearing a salvage hauler's skin? Harrison was already running new scans. The quantum architecture. It's not just different, it's adaptive. The more we interact with it, the more it changes, but not randomly. It's changing in response to us, to humans specifically. Sarah felt a smile tugging at her lips. The Council had meant to humble humanity, to put them in their place with a gift of garbage. Instead, they might have handed humans the key to something revolutionary. Maya, how long to get basic systems operational? The engineer consulted her tablet. With conventional repairs, weeks. But if we stop trying to force it to work like a normal ship and start working with whatever it's trying to become, maybe days. Do it. Kai, start running simulations on the navigation systems. Harrison, I want everything you can tell me about this quantum core. The Council expects us to fail. Let's show them what happens when humans get their hands on a real challenge. As her crew dispersed to their tasks, Sarah remained in engineering, watching the core's pulsing light. The Phoenix Dawn was more than a ship. It was a mystery wrapped in an insult, given to humanity by aliens who thought they knew the limits of human potential. But if there was one thing humans did better than anyone else in the galaxy, it was proving others wrong. The next few days would reshape humanity's place among the stars. The Phoenix Dawn would rise from its artificial grave, transformed by human ingenuity and an alien technology that seemed to have been waiting for them all along. The Galactic Council had given humanity a puzzle box of impossible physics and forgotten technology, never imagining that humans would be the ones to finally solve it. Sarah Chen smiled in the quantum core's pulsing light. They were about to rewrite the rules of reality itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. James Harrison stared at his laboratory readings with growing bewilderment. For the fifth time in as many hours, the Phoenix Dawn's quantum core had completely rewritten its own operational parameters. The numbers on his screen shouldn't have been possible. They violated half a dozen fundamental laws of physics. Yet there they were, taunting him with their impossible existence. Maya, he called out to the engineer who was elbow-deep in a nearby console. Remember how you said the ship was thinking? I'm starting to believe you weren't being metaphorical. Maya Rodriguez extracted herself from the panel, wiping grease from her hands. Show me. She crossed the lab, leaving smudged fingerprints on Harrison's pristine display as she traced the energy patterns. That's not random variation. The core is establishing new quantum states based on. Wait. She tapped a recurring pattern in the data. That's a brainwave pattern. Human brainwave pattern. The discovery spread through the ship like wildfire. Within hours, Captain Chen had authorized a series of controlled experiments. They started small, monitoring the quantum core's reactions while different crew members interacted with various ship systems. The results were staggering. It's like the ship is learning us, Kai explained during the emergency briefing. The navigation specialist had dark circles under his eyes from marathon analysis sessions, but his voice crackled with excitement. Every time we interface with a system, the quantum architecture adapts. It's not just responding to input, it's restructuring itself to match our thought patterns. Sarah Chen paced the conference room, her mind racing with implications. Are you telling me this ship is basically rewiring itself to think like a human? More like it's building a translation layer, Harrison corrected. The base architecture is still alien, probably Corixian, but it's creating new pathways that align with human neural patterns. The more we work with it, the more it synchronizes with our way of thinking. Maya pulled up a holographic display of the ship's systems. Points of light showed where the changes were most pronounced: engineering, navigation, life support. Here's the really interesting part. The modifications are spreading. Systems we haven't even touched yet are starting to adapt, like the ship is anticipating our needs. The council observers are getting nervous, Sarah noted. They've doubled their monitoring shifts. Whatever this ship is doing, they didn't expect it. Maybe they couldn't do it themselves. The next breakthrough came 3 days later. Maya and her engineering team had been experimenting with the drive systems, trying to understand why conventional repair approaches kept failing. The answer, when it came, was so obvious it made her laugh out loud. "We've been idiots," she announced, bursting into the captain's ready room. "We keep trying to fix the quantum drive like it's broken. But it's not broken. It's incomplete. It's been waiting for us to finish building it." Sarah set down her coffee. "Explain." "The Corixians. They must have been trying to develop some new form of quantum propulsion. But look at these design elements." Maya projected a complex technical schematic. "There are gaps in the system, places where it seems like components are missing. But they're not missing. They're undefined. The system is designed to be completed by its users." Harrison, who had followed Maya in, picked up the thread. "The ship doesn't just adapt to our thought patterns, it adapts to our understanding of physics. Our theories about quantum mechanics are different from the council races. When we work on the drive, the ship incorporates our theoretical models into its architecture. And that's why it never worked for them." Sarah realized. They were trying to make it work according to their understanding of physics, but the drive was designed to evolve, to become something new based on how its users think about reality. The implications were staggering. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just a ship, it was a technological evolutionary system, designed to combine alien quantum engineering with the scientific perspectives of its crew. The Corixians had created something that could transcend the limitations of any single species' understanding of physics. They began proper testing the next day. Maya's team had reconfigured the quantum drive based on their latest theories, letting the ship's adaptive systems incorporate human models of quantum mechanics. The results exceeded their wildest expectations. "Power output is 300% above theoretical maximum," Kai reported from his station. "Quantum field coherences. I don't even have a scale for this. We're generating spatial distortions that should be impossible." Sarah watched through the bridge viewport as space itself seemed to ripple around their ship. The Phoenix Dawn hummed with power, but it wasn't the rough vibration of a mechanical system. It felt alive, responsive, almost eager. "Take us out, Kai. Let's see what she can really do." The ship moved like nothing they'd ever experienced. Traditional engines pushed against space. The Phoenix Dawn's quantum drive seemed to suggest to reality that it should be somewhere else, and reality agreed. They covered a light year in under an hour, without any of the usual gravitational stress of faster-than-light travel. The council observers were beside themselves. Their monitoring equipment couldn't make sense of what the ship was doing. According to their instruments, the Phoenix Dawn's drive shouldn't have been able to function at all, let alone achieve such speeds. "Captain," one of the observers, a tall insectoid being named Rixtil, demanded, "you must cease these modifications immediately. You are violating fundamental laws of physics." Sarah met the alien's compound eyes steadily. "No, Observer Rixtil. We're not violating the laws of physics. We're just the first ones to read them correctly." The observer's mandibles clicked in agitation. "This technology is beyond your species' development level. You cannot possibly understand what you are doing." "That's where you're wrong," Sarah replied. "We understand exactly what we're doing. We're finishing what the Corixians started. They built a ship that could learn, that could evolve. They just needed a species creative enough to help it reach its potential." As if to emphasize her point, the quantum core pulsed with new energy. Throughout the ship, systems that had been dormant for centuries came to life, rewriting themselves to match human innovation. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just a salvage hauler anymore. It was becoming something entirely new, a hybrid of human ingenuity and Caraxian quantum engineering. The Council had given humanity their worst ship, expecting failure. Instead, they had handed humans the keys to a technological revolution. And as Sarah Chen watched her crew push the boundaries of what was possible, she knew this was just the beginning. The Phoenix Dawn was about to show the galaxy what happened when human creativity met unlimited potential. The quantum lab aboard the Phoenix Dawn had transformed over the past week. What began as a makeshift research space now hummed with energy as newly awakened systems lined the walls, displaying data in ever-shifting patterns that merged alien mathematics with human theoretical models. Dr. Harrison stood at the center of it all, orchestrating a dance of quantum possibilities that shouldn't have existed. The ship isn't just adapting anymore, he explained to Captain Chen and the senior staff. It's anticipating. Watch this. He approached the console, reaching for the controls, but before his fingers made contact, the system had already begun adjusting its parameters. It's learning how we think, how we solve problems. It's becoming more human while remaining fundamentally alien. Maya Rodriguez nodded, her expression intense as she studied the readings. The quantum core's evolution is accelerating. Every breakthrough we make creates new possibilities we hadn't even considered. It's like having a research partner that can instantly test and implement our wildest theories. Sarah Chen watched the displays with a mixture of pride and concern. The Phoenix Dawn's transformation was remarkable, but it hadn't gone unnoticed. The Council observers had been sending increasingly urgent reports to their superiors, and the tension was building. How close are we to understanding what this ship was actually designed to do? We've been finding fragments in the original code, Kai reported, pulling up a series of architectural diagrams. The Caraxians were working on something revolutionary. They called it the reality interface, a system that could directly manipulate the quantum fabric of space-time through conscious interaction. In simpler terms, Sarah pressed. They were trying to build a ship that could reshape reality according to its crew's understanding of physics, but they disappeared before they could perfect it. Maybe they couldn't resolve the cognitive disconnect between their quantum technology and their own thought patterns. The conversation was interrupted by a sharp alert from the bridge. Captain to the command deck. Immediately came the urgent call. We have company. Sarah arrived on the bridge to find a fleet of council ships emerging from faster-than-light travel, their sleek forms arranged in an unmistakably aggressive pattern. The lead vessel was massive, bristling with weapons that could reduce a normal ship to atoms. They're hailing us, Kai reported from his station. The main screen flickered to life, revealing High Counselor Vexthor themselves. Their crystalline forms seemed to vibrate with barely contained anger. Captain Chen, your experiment ends now. Power down all systems and prepare to be boarded. The Phoenix Dawn is being reclaimed for the safety of the galaxy. Sarah felt a surge of protective anger. This ship, this incredible mystery they were unraveling, had become more than just a vessel. It was proof of what humanity could achieve when given the chance. With respect, High Counselor, we decline. The Phoenix Dawn was given to humanity as a gift. You can't reclaim it simply because we succeeded where others failed. You have no conception of the forces you are tampering with, Vexthor insisted. That vessel was sealed away for a reason. The Caraxian quantum technology is too dangerous to be controlled by primitives. The insult hung in the air, but Sarah didn't rise to the bait. Instead, she felt something else, a subtle shift in the ship's energy, as if the Phoenix Dawn itself was responding to the threat. The quantum core's pulse changed, synchronizing with her rising determination. Maya, she called over the internal comm, tell me we have something that can get us out of this. Better than that, Captain, the engineer replied, excitement cutting through her professional tone. Remember how the ship's been anticipating our needs. It's been preparing for this exact scenario. We've got access to systems we didn't even know existed. Harrison's voice joined the conversation. Captain, the quantum core is showing unprecedented levels of coherence. The reality interface. It's not just theoretical anymore. The ship wants to show us what it can really do. Around them, the Council fleet began to move, taking up attack positions. Sarah had seconds to make a decision that would change everything. Kai, plot us a course through their formation. Maya, Harrison, whatever the ship is offering, take it. Let's show them what happens when humanity and Corexian technology really dance. The Phoenix Dawn responded instantly. The quantum core's gentle pulse became a symphony of power, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. As the Council ships opened fire, space around the Phoenix Dawn began to fold in impossible ways. "This is incredible," Harrison breathed, watching his instruments. The ship isn't just moving through space, it's rewriting local physics. Their weapons literally cannot work within our quantum envelope. The first barrage of enemy fire dissipated harmlessly against an area of space that simply decided their weapons' physics were temporarily optional. The Phoenix Dawn moved with liquid grace, each maneuver defying conventional laws of motion. Where other ships had to push against the fabric of space-time, they simply negotiated with it. "They're trying to lock us down with gravitational fields," Kai reported, his hands dancing across his console. But even as he spoke, the ship was already responding, quantum fields rippling out to turn the enemy's trap against them. The Council ship's formation broke as their own gravity weapons began to malfunction. "The reality interface is fully online," Maya announced. "Captain, this ship, it's not just breaking the laws of physics. It's showing us that what we thought were laws were really just suggestions." The Corexians built a ship that could help its crew understand the true nature of reality. Sarah watched as their pursuers struggled to cope with phenomena their technology couldn't explain. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just escaping, it was demonstrating a completely new paradigm of space travel. Every movement rewrote the rules, showing the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, but their ability to embrace and adapt to new possibilities. "Send a message to the Council fleet," Sarah ordered, a slight smile playing at her lips. "Tell them we understand now why they kept this ship locked away. They were afraid of what would happen when someone finally figured out how to use it properly. The Phoenix Dawn isn't a salvage hauler, it's a key to understanding the universe itself. And humanity just turned that key." As the message transmitted, the ship's quantum fields pulsed one final time. Space itself seemed to bow away from them, and the Phoenix Dawn slipped into a realm of reality where the Council's understanding of physics held no authority. They had done more than escape. They had proven that humanity's place in the galaxy would never be the same. The Council had meant to humble humanity with a gift of garbage. Instead, they had given them the tools to revolutionize their understanding of the universe. And as the Phoenix Dawn sailed through impossible spaces, Sarah Chen knew that their journey was just beginning. The true test would come when the Council realized that they couldn't put this particular genie back in its bottle. Humanity was about to change everything. The galactic news networks buzzed with unprecedented activity. Across thousands of worlds, beings of all species gathered around information terminals, watching grainy footage of an impossible ship. The Phoenix Dawn had become the most famous, or infamous, vessel in known space, and humanity's actions had sparked a crisis that threatened to reshape the political landscape of the galaxy. Captain Sarah Chen stood on her bridge, watching the tactical display with growing concern. The Council hadn't taken their escape well. Now, a month after their first confrontation, the response had finally arrived. The largest fleet mobilization in recent galactic history. 117 vessels, Kai reported, his voice tight. Including 3 Titan-class dreadnoughts. They're forming a containment net across 3 sectors of space. Maya's voice crackled over the comm from engineering. "They're not just trying to catch us anymore, Captain. They're trying to make sure we have nowhere to run." Sarah nodded, studying the deployment pattern. The Council fleet had learned from their last encounter. spreading out to create a web of overlapping sensor coverage and weapons ranges. They were treating the Phoenix Dawn like a threat to galactic stability itself, and perhaps they weren't entirely wrong. "Dr. Harrison, what's our status?" Sarah asked, turning to her science officer. Harrison looked up from his station, where streams of quantum data flowed across multiple screens. "The reality interface is fully integrated now. The ship's quantum architecture has evolved beyond anything in Council records. We're not just bending physics anymore. We're rewriting the underlying code of spacetime itself." The past month had been a revelation. Every day brought new discoveries as the Phoenix Dawn continued to evolve, merging human intuition with Caraxian quantum engineering. The ship had become something entirely new, a hybrid of technologies that shouldn't have worked together, yet somehow created possibilities that defied imagination. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Kai announced. "Text only. Final warning to power down and surrender, or they'll consider us an active threat to galactic security." Sarah felt the ship's quantum core pulse in response to her rising determination. That was another change. The connection between crew and ship had deepened, becoming almost intuitive. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just responding to their commands anymore. It was anticipating their needs, working with them as a partner in their ongoing evolution. "Maya," Sarah called, "remember that theory you were working on, about using the reality interface to create quantum duplicates of local space? The probability matrix concept." Maya's excitement was evident even over the comm. "The simulations look promising, but we haven't tested it in real conditions. It would require perfect synchronization between our thought patterns and the ship's quantum fields." "Well," Sarah smiled grimly, "we're about to get a real-world test. Harrison, begin correlation of crew brainwave patterns with the quantum core. Kai, plot us a course right through the center of their formation." The crew moved with practiced efficiency, months of working with impossible physics having prepared them for this moment. The Phoenix Dawn systems hummed to life, quantum fields extending around the hull like an invisible web of possibility. "Council fleet is moving to intercept," Kai reported. "They're charging weapons." "Let them come," Sarah said softly. "Show them what we've learned." The first shots from the Council fleet never reached their target. As energy weapons and gravitational disruptors lanced out across space, the Phoenix Dawn's quantum fields shifted. Reality seemed to blur, and suddenly there weren't just one but dozens of identical ships, each one as real as the original, each one operating in its own slightly different version of spacetime. "Probability matrix is stable," Maya shouted triumphantly. "We're successfully maintaining quantum superposition across all instances." The Council fleet's carefully planned containment strategy fell apart as they faced not one impossible ship, but an entire squadron of them. Each version of the Phoenix Dawn moved differently, existed differently, yet all were connected through the original's quantum core. The human crew's consciousness bridged the gaps between possibilities, guiding their ship through spaces that shouldn't have existed. "They're trying to adapt their tactics," Kai noted, watching the enemy fleet's confusion. "But they can't target what they can't predict. We're operating outside their understanding of cause and effect." Harrison's hands flew across his console, monitoring the quantum fluctuations. "The reality interface is exceeding all theoretical limits. We're not just creating quantum duplicates, we're teaching the local universe new rules about how spacetime can behave." The Council fleet's formation broke as ships struggled to cope with phenomena their sensors couldn't explain. Energy weapons passed harmlessly through quantum ghosts, while solid matter phased between states of possibility. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just avoiding their attacks, it was demonstrating the fundamental limitations of their understanding of reality. "New signal from the flagship," Kai announced. They're requesting a parley." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Put them through." High Counselor Vexthor's image appeared on the main screen, their crystalline form vibrating with barely contained emotion. "Captain Chen, what you have done, what you have become, this changes everything." "That was rather the point," Sarah replied calmly. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't garbage to be discarded. It was a key to understanding the universe in ways your people never imagined. Humanity didn't break your laws of physics. We just showed you that those laws were incomplete. The consequences of this technology, spreading Vexthor began, are exactly what the Corrections intended. Sarah interrupted. They built this ship to evolve, to learn, to grow with its crew. They wanted someone to finish what they started, to push the boundaries of what's possible. They wanted the galaxy to understand that reality itself is more flexible than we imagined. The quantum duplicates of the Phoenix Dawn began to merge back into a single vessel, a display of control that made several council ships back away nervously. The ship's quantum core pulsed with power, but it was a gentle rhythm now, a reminder that the most profound changes often come not through force, but through understanding. We're not your enemies, Sarah continued. We're not even your rivals. We're explorers, just like the Corrections were. And we're offering you the chance to explore with us, to learn what the universe really is when we stop limiting ourselves to what we think is possible. As the Council fleet held position, watching their impossible quarry, the Phoenix Dawn's crew knew they had reached a turning point. They hadn't just survived the galaxy's attempt to contain them. They had demonstrated that humanity's greatest strength lay not in weapons or technology, but in their ability to see beyond the boundaries others took for granted. The real challenge was just beginning. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity's role in it had been forever changed by a gift that was meant to humble them. The Phoenix Dawn hung in space, a testament to human ingenuity and alien wisdom combined, ready to lead the way into a future where the only limits were those of imagination itself. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had changed since Sarah Chen's first visit. Where once there had been dismissive amusement at humanity's presence, now there was an undercurrent of nervous energy. Representatives from 1,000 species watched as the Phoenix Dawn's captain stood before them, her crew arrayed behind her, their worn uniforms standing in stark contrast to the ornate surroundings. But it wasn't just the council members who had changed their attitude. The chamber itself seemed different, its quantum structure resonating with the energy signature that now permeated the Phoenix Dawn. As Sarah stepped forward to address the assembly, she could feel the ship's presence even here, its consciousness extended through space in ways that defied conventional physics. High Counselor Vexthor's crystalline form caught the light as they spoke. Captain Chen, you stand before us having demonstrated capabilities that threaten the very foundation of galactic society. The Phoenix Dawn has become something that exceeds all known technological boundaries. We must know, how did you achieve this? Sarah allowed herself a small smile. We didn't achieve anything. We simply listened to what the ship was trying to tell us all along. She gestured, and Dr. Harrison stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the chamber with streams of quantum data. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just a ship, Harrison explained. It was a test. The Corrections didn't disappear. They evolved. This technology wasn't about transportation or weapons. It was about consciousness, about understanding reality itself. Maya Rodriguez joined in, her engineer's precision adding weight to their revelation. The quantum core wasn't broken or incomplete. It was waiting. Every species that tried to use it approached it with preconceptions about how reality should work. They tried to force it to conform to their understanding of physics. We were the first to let it teach us instead. The chamber erupted in murmurs and exclamations as the implications sank in. Sarah continued, her voice carrying over the noise. The Corrections left these ships throughout the galaxy, disguised as salvage, as derelicts, as forgotten technology. They were searching for species capable of making the same leap they did, species that could look at the impossible and see possibility instead of contradiction. Impossible, one of the council members chittered. The Corrections vanished centuries ago. Their technology was lost. No, Sarah corrected. They transcended. The quantum technology they developed allowed them to exist in multiple states of reality simultaneously. They became beings of pure quantum consciousness, but they couldn't share their discovery with species who weren't ready to understand it. Kai stepped forward, bringing up new displays showing the Phoenix Dawn's evolutionary journey. Every modification we made, every breakthrough we achieved, was following a path the Corrections laid out. But it only worked because we approached it with human creativity and adaptability. We didn't try to master the technology. We partnered with it. The evidence was undeniable. The Phoenix Dawn had evolved far beyond its original form, becoming a bridge between conventional spacetime and something far more complex. The quantum fields it generated didn't just bend reality. They revealed layers of existence that most species never imagined. The Council gave us that ship believing it would humble humanity. Sarah continued. You thought we were primitive, limited, unworthy of joining your galactic community. But the Corrections saw something different in us. They saw a species that questions everything, that looks at limitations as challenges to overcome. They saw potential. High Counselor Vexthor's crystalline surface rippled with complex emotions. And now, what do you intend to do with this power? Sarah's response was immediate and firm. Share it. The Corrections didn't leave this technology as a weapon or a means of domination. They left it as an invitation to join them in understanding the true nature of reality. The quantum core of the Phoenix Dawn pulsed in harmony with her words, and suddenly the chamber was filled with ghostly images, echoes of the Corrections themselves, their consciousness reaching across the quantum foam of spacetime. They appeared as beings of pure energy and thought, their form shifting between states of possibility. Correct, Captain Chen. The voices echoed in all minds present. We have waited long for a species that could bridge the gap between conventional existence and quantum consciousness. Humanity's gift is not their technology or their intelligence, but their ability to embrace the impossible. The Council chamber was silent as the implications sank in. The Corrections hadn't vanished. They had simply stepped sideways into a reality that most species couldn't perceive. And now, through humanity's interaction with the Phoenix Dawn, they were reaching back. The gift we gave humanity wasn't the ship, Vexthor realized, their voice heavy with understanding. The gift was the opportunity to prove themselves worthy of the Corrections' legacy. And now we extend that gift to all. Sarah replied. The Phoenix Dawn isn't just a ship anymore. It's a teacher. Through it, we can show others how to see beyond the boundaries of conventional physics. We can help the galaxy take its next evolutionary step. The quantum ghosts of the Corrections shimmered with approval. This is why we chose them. Humanity doesn't see boundaries. They see doorways. They don't accept limitations. They see challenges. Through them, all species can learn to understand the quantum nature of reality. As the Council erupted in discussion and debate, Sarah looked at her crew, the humans who had taken a piece of salvage and turned it into a key that unlocked the universe's greatest mysteries. The Phoenix Dawn had lived up to its name, heralding a new dawn for all species ready to embrace a deeper understanding of reality. The ship that was meant to humble humanity had instead elevated the entire galaxy. The Council's gift of garbage had become a bridge to a future where the laws of physics were just the beginning of what was possible. And as the quantum consciousness of the Corrections resonated through the chamber, Sarah Chen knew that humanity's real journey was just beginning. They had been given the worst ship in the fleet, but they had turned it into something transcendent. Now they would help guide the galaxy into a new age of understanding, where the boundaries between thought and reality, between consciousness and quantum mechanics, would blur and transform in ways even the Corrections might never have imagined. The Phoenix Dawn waited in orbit above, its quantum core pulsing with possibilities, ready to teach anyone willing to learn that the universe was far more magnificent and malleable than anyone had ever dreamed. Humanity had proven themselves not just worthy of joining the galactic community, but capable of leading it into a future where the only constant was change itself.